like a lot of these Q&As, and I'm doing them like normally with somebody asking me questions, but I've discovered that it feels really great to do audience discussions, and that audiences, for some reason, have been asking me like the greatest questions I've been asked. And so I was hoping if you wouldn't mind either, don't feel any pressure, but amongst all of the people here, there must be one person who has the audacity, the brazenness, the gall to for debate. But if anybody has any questions, please ask. And thanks. Yeah, hi over there.
Hi.
And I'll repeat it, so don't start yelling at her. She's innocent. Sometimes people say, "I can't hear you," and it sounds so cruel.
Oh my God, I have so many questions if I could only ask, but I know we have no time. But my mom's aunt is from Krasnodar. My brother was born in Lublin. I'm from Warsaw. So like, I'm had chills. This movie is like amazing. So my mom was asking.
Yes.
She lives in Poland, in Warsaw.
Okay.
How the end of the movie, where the cousin is. Like, we want to know more. Like, my mom was like, I'm 86, but I want a sequel.
Oh, that's so sweet. And tell her she knows all that she needs to know. As she was saying, her mother's in Warsaw, but her family comes from Krasnodar, which is a little town that the characters go to at the end of the movie. And it's funny, the house that they are visiting and standing in front of and putting a rock down in front of is my family's house that they lived in up until the war broke out, obviously. But they lived there for hundreds of years, like far more than we lived in America even. So, so strange that, we grow up as, as Americans kind of like not really thinking too much about the much longer history we had in other places. Your mom brought up a very sweet thing, and she probably works at a movie studio, because she asked why did the ending not have enough of a resolution for her. And I think you asked me this question in the most sweet way, which is that she wants a sequel, but that's a euphemism for what happened. And, this is a movie about these cousins kind of coming to terms with the way their relationship has changed. And they're 40 now, and they've grown up in different worlds. And my character is desperate to change this guy who he's so in awe of and just can't. And so what happens at the end is these characters, they have a reconciliation and they hug, but also they know, you know what? We're probably not going to be as we were. And there's something bittersweet about that. And the reason it's sweet is because they have come to terms with who each other are. And David recognizes, you know what, I'm living in the shadow of this person, and I don't really need to live that way anymore. I have enough of a life, I'm going to be okay, I have stability, and I wish Benji had some of my stability. And we see Kieran at the end of the movie lonely at this place of transience. He's stuck at an airport where he can really thrive because he's great in immediate interactions, but struggles with long-term relationships. And so I wanted to leave him where we met him, which is just in a place that, for a lonely person, feels a little less lonely, but is not a sustainable place to live. And so yeah, that's what that is. And please thank your mom for going, and tell her that this is as commercial as I'm willing to make the ending. And I hope, and that if she would see the other movies this year, they don't even have a thread of resolution, and she should be so thrilled that this one does. And parents, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, hi, I see you over there.
I'm a friend of your dad's from Park City.
Oh, hi, yeah, how's it going?
Good. I know it's a very personal movie for
Sure,
you.
yeah.
So, that's where it starts. You saw my daughter in the movie.
Yeah.
How do you hold it together? I know you're a professional, but how do you hold it together?
How to hold it together while filming. It's really weird. So like, I was asking about like the house at the end, we're filming this movie. It's just like very personal thing. Again, my family's like taken out of it. I know the history is awful. If you know anything about the Holocaust, the history is, every story is like more shocking than the one we've heard. So I know the history of that house and of my family's history there, and it's just dreadful and terrible, of course. And yet, while we're filming the scene there, I was expecting, that I should have some like full circle catharsis that I'm like here doing this movie and I have the last laugh, Hitler, and and it was so weird, and I just didn't have any time to have any feeling. It was like we had us one day in front of that house, which meant all the stuff with me and Kieran walking to it, walking through the park, and then the stuff with the guys, meaning doing coverage of the guys. And this is a movie savvy audience, so it's not quick to do all that stuff. Having shooting those guys up at the balcony talking, and it's hard because one of the guys doesn't speak English, so you're translating to an actor. And we had, we were shooting from like 7 to 6 p.m. that day, and we knew it was going to rain at like 5. And so the whole day I was just panicking that we were not moving fast enough with all the coverage we needed to get by the time it was going to start raining. And so I remember like at the end of the day, I was like, wow, that just felt like any other movie set. We're at this place, this hallowed grounds with my family's history, and it just felt like being like, a superhero movie and the sun's going down. Like it felt like any other movie in the world. And it was the case so many times during this shoot, where we're filming at these places that have a lot of meaning from my family or stuff that I've been interested in, and yet when you get there and you're on a set of 150 people, it's just everything turns into a movie set, is the kind of, let's say, disappointing lesson I learned. Yeah, thank you so much. Hi. And then we'll head back, of course.
So the chemistry between you and Kieran is phenomenal in this movie. I'm curious about how well did you all know each other before you went into it, and also like how much of it was really scripted and what turned out to be improvised?
Oh yeah, sure. He's asking about working with Kieran and if we knew each other and if the script was improvised or whatever. And Kieran I didn't know and hadn't seen in anything except that we had auditioned for a movie together in like 2008 for this movie Adventureland. And he came in and he started kind of like, oh yes. I don't know if he needs to do a standing ovation. The film is so old and it had its standing ovations and it's had its moment and that's past. But he auditioned for the movie and kind of came into the room of a movie that I'd already been cast in, and he kind of just started like attacking me in the scene, in character, but basically attacking me. He was so brilliant and so funny and so like brazen in this audition, and it was just exactly like what this dynamic is in this, like really funny, interesting, confident, and yet I was the one who was supposed to be in control because I was in that movie, and in this movie I'm the one who planned the trip, and I'm the one who paid for the trip, and yet he's coming in and just stealing the spotlight, which is what he did in that audition, and I just had this memory of this guy doing that, and when I was thinking about who played the part, it just seemed like, oh yeah, that was the person. In terms of improvisation, it's not that style of movie, it's a scripted movie, it's not like, improvised movie, so the script wasn't improvised or anything. There's one line that was made up by, I heard, because it just arrived here when the line happened, which is when James, the tour guide, says, "Thank you, David," and that, it's funny just to even recall it, that's so funny. And that was this brilliant guy, Will Sharp, who plays James, he just said that, kind of to make me laugh even, it was kind of like a funny thing to just say, and it was so funny we put it in the movie. But no, otherwise it's a scripted movie, Yeah, thanks, here, I'll go in the back just for equity. But there's no one in the back, so in some ways you let yourself down. Oh, no, there's somebody all the way back there. Yeah.
In the movie, there's no conversation between Polish people until the balcony scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you do that intentionally?
Yeah.
Or not intentionally?
Exactly. So he was asking, why don't we talk to Polish people? Because I based this on tours I've gone on. The first time I left the country, I went to Venezuela with my wife, and we went on a tour, and it was exactly like this. It wasn't just Americans. There was I think 2 British people on it. It was an English-speaking tour of Venezuela. And so you get to this, hotel the night before, and then you meet for breakfast in the morning, and you're just in this bubble of these people, and you don't talk to other people. And it's just the most surreal experience, because what ends up emerging is this strange social dynamic with this group of people, and you're not really fully traveling to this country in a social sense. You're traveling in the physical sense, but in a social sense, you're really just in this weird dynamic that couldn't exist in any suburb in America. And I just thought this is so funny and ironic. And when and it's so funny, this dynamic is so funny. I wanted to present a movie that shows just that strange irony of like traveling somewhere and yet in some ways you're having the same conversations you would have in New Jersey. Yeah, thanks a lot. Can I go to you on the end there? Yes, you, of course, you. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think all the time. Like, I walk around the world totally miserable, and then I take a little breath and I say, wait, what an asshole. Why am I miserable? My life is so nice. And then I think, well, why am I miserable? This is so weird and unfounded. And then I wanted to explore that strange feeling that I had in this movie. And so when I was thinking to set it against the backdrop of the Holocaust, I thought it would be interesting to show these characters that are kind of struggling with their lives. You know, Benji's struggles are greater than David's struggles, but they're both kind of struggling in different ways. And I went, whoa, it's almost interesting. And I wanted to like set their pain against the backdrop of the Holocaust to show that, like, yes, their pain is definitely valid, but the question, how is it valid? And I'm going to just ignore it, but it's so fascinating. Okay. Thank you so much. And that one was and so I think about it all the time, and I thought it'd be interesting to ask those same questions that I ask myself every day in New York, but against the backdrop of historical trauma. So I thought it would add a layer of, kind of just, it makes that question that much more richer to ask it in a place like a concentration camp, rather than just asking that same weird question of what is the value of my existence? And how is it possible that this woman who survived, as I say, by 1,000 miracles, this woman who should not have been alive, created people who are like, us, unremarkable.
I want to thank you for making this movie. I identified with Kieran so deeply. My brother David is so much like your character.
Oh my God.
And
You're one of the, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say, I'm the Benji. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is a prize for you, and I don't know what it is, but it might rhyme with antidepressant. That's amazing. Thank you for saying that. You really are the first person that's said that. That's kind of amazing. Thank you. I love the character so much. It's just no one says that to me. Thank you. You're so kind. Yeah, thank you. Maybe you're in front area. Yeah, she's asking what's it like directing myself, bad, and what was it, and then I need guidance from other people, yes. And, one of the producers on this movie is Emma Stone. I don't know if you would know that, except if you're watching the credits, because she's not like, it's not like, you would know that, but the reason I say that is because she happens to be an unbelievably brilliant producer who has 3 great movies that came out this year. And so she's really, and none of them are about her or, or starring her or whatever. She's just really a great producer. So she was by the monitor for many days, and directing myself is weird because I don't watch the movies I've been in. I haven't watched a movie I've been in for 15 years because I just don't like thinking about it as a product. I like thinking about it, the experience, and I don't mean to sound pretentious. It's just been better for me as an actor to not think I'm ever going to watch these things, right? So with this, it was super weird. I would hold a monitor, like a little TV screen, and while we were rehearsing, I would kind of do the scene looking down at the monitor to see what framing looked like, and then we would do the scenes, and if the cinematographer and the producer said it looked good, I would just move on, and I would never watch it back because I didn't want to watch myself or second guess myself. I just wanted to kind of keep moving. It was a very quick shoot. There wasn't a lot of time to kind of worry about everything, which for me is the best thing in the world. Yeah. Okay, hi, you put your hand up so quickly. You're in a white sweater and you have a buoyancy to you.
Picking off your energy. Jesse, my name is Nick. I really enjoyed the movie a lot. I haven't seen it until today. I've been having, it's a little bit of a downer in the question of the energy I'm bringing, I'm sorry. But I've been having a lot of conversations with my sister about how trauma is sort of inherited in many different ways from our parents, from our grandparents, along the family line, especially in traditions that the Jewish people have of being a culture that is most prone to the suffering in the world, but also a culture that sort of holds on to suffering. And a lot of the times we make art as a way to both introduce our feelings to the world, but also as therapy for ourselves in many ways. And I just wanted to ask, was the process of making this movie, both for your family and history, I guess, but also for yourself, a very therapeutic experience?
Thanks. It's not a downer at all. That's such a nice question. And yeah, it's something I think about all the time. For me, no one's asking me to write a movie script, so I only kind of write things if I really feel like that I can't finish my day if I don't get this stuff out. And so as you're saying, it's always cathartic. Everything I write is cathartic because no one's asking me to do it, so it's self-generated out of some emotional need to exorcise it from my head. And that was certainly the case with this. The most personal stuff in this movie is not really the fact that we shouted outside the house that my family's from. The most personal stuff in this movie is when I'm saying that, I feel so stupid around this person because he seems to be so comfortable in his own body and I never have been. And that's the most personal thing in the movie, which is how I felt throughout my life, And so it's not autobiographical, in terms of my family's history, but it's just very personal to me. And so that is, really cathartic, because I constantly think I feel so inadequate around people who feel so comfortable in their own skin. And this movie, for me, by the end of the movie, I think David goes home to his family and he hugs his kid and he hugs his wife and he thinks, you know what, I'm not an interesting, exciting person, but I have the stability that allows me to survive. And I wish my cousin had some of that too. So that's the kind of, let's say, gift that the maybe movie imbued me with. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks. Hi. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just had a question about the movie.
There's sign language, I think
Oh, the hat that you were wearing, are you a fan, or is that a place that you went to college for?
Oh.
The hat has a logo?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Yeah, the hat is from IU, it's Indiana University. It was my father-in-law's hat when he died. My wife asked me to wear it. And so I started wearing his hat, and it's still my hat. And when I was thinking about directing myself in a movie, I was thinking, what do I do about the problem of my hair? And the answer was a big red hat. Yeah, thank you. Thanks over there. Hi, in the shop. Yeah. Hi.
When you guys were in the concentration camp and you showed the shot with the residue of the gas chambers, I noticed that in the shot that there is a space left over. And I don't know if you guys saw that, and I want to know your guys' reaction when you guys were first in that area.
Wait, there's a face?
It looked like there was a face by the door. With the blue, there looked like there was a face right there.
Oh God! Wow, you have an eagle eye. I wonder if that was the reflection of an actor looking at the window.
No, you can see that it was from the blue. From the residue. It looked like
Oh, from the blue.
Yeah.
Is that? I've never noticed that ever. That's amazing. Really?
Yeah.
That's so scary. That's strange.
It was the one that caught my attention the most.
I had no idea that room could be any scarier than it already is. And yet there's a ghost face in the blue wall. That's terrifying. Thank you for noticing it. I don't know what to say because I've never seen it. The only thing I could say, if you don't mind, because I just love chatting, is that blue on the wall is called Prussian blue, and it's a color and a pigment that only comes from poison gas. And so it's like this unbelievably strange, ironic, tragic thing, which is that this beautiful color only is derived from this poison zyklon gas. And it's all over, and it wasn't in my script because I didn't know about it until we were scouting the locations. We scouted the locations. I just remember asking the tour guide, I was like, "What is that?" And everywhere I walked, like, "What is that?" It's so shocking because it's gorgeous, and the rooms are so bleak and so harrowing, and the history is so tragic, and you just see this unbelievably vibrant blue everywhere, and so that's why it maybe became kind of the centerpiece of those scenes. Well, thank you for.
Yeah, I recommend going back to that.
I'm kind of scared to go back to it.
It reminds me of the atomic bombs that they dropped in.
Right, where you see the shadows still there.
So that's what it made me think of. So I thought you guys saw that in the thing, and that's what you guys had that shot.
No, I'm gonna go through with a comb now, a flying tooth one at that. Thank you. No, thanks. Hi, and I'll repeat because he's in the front here.
What was the meaning of your character putting your stone back on his doorstep?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, he was asking what's the meaning of, when I go back home to Brooklyn and I put my stone on the stoop there. The idea with it was basically we go to Poland and we go to this house and we're trying to have this nice gesture because we don't know how to connect to this place. We get there and we're like, it's so unremarkable. This is it. Strange. And then we're trying to like force a feeling onto it. So we decided to do this gesture and put it down there. And then that's spoiled too because the guy said, you know, actually that's a tripping hazard, so you really can't put it there. So it's like, okay, so what do we do? And then we are walking through, and in my mind it's like they're realizing we don't like belong here anymore. Like this is not for us now. Which is how I felt when I first went to that town. I remember I was driving in the car, my wife was sitting next to me in the car, and I turned to her at one point as we were driving through this town across the South, and I said, oh, I thought people were gonna look like me here. And it was just this weird revelation of like, oh right, are my people like aren't like here anymore, like not a person. And I thought, oh God, that's such an eerie thought. And so I was thinking like, you know, the history of like, you know, Jewish culture has been nomadic throughout hundreds of years. And so I was thinking, you know, it's like he takes the rock from the place in Poland, and this is where we are now. We're in Brooklyn now, and who knows how long we'll be here. It was like that kind of thing, but here we are now. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. Oh yes, hello. Well, this is a friend recommending his friend's question.
I was wondering what your relationship was to Chopin, and do you listen to Chopin while you're writing, or is that just something that came in?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. And so, yes, this shy man asked me about the Chopin music, and Chopin is from Warsaw, from Poland. I think he split his time between Poland and France, and I think he actually split his brain and his heart in Poland and France. I think his heart is in Poland and his brain is in France. I really think this is some strange thing. You could look it up. But basically, so I wanted to use Chopin music. Whoa. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like Donald Duck. And so when I was writing the movie, I was putting Chopin in the script because I was listening to it as I was writing. And I thought, well, you know what, this would just be a great soundtrack. Let me just put all these tracks in the movie script so that when people are reading the script, they understand the tone of the piece. Because, you know, it's easy to read a script about two guys who are traveling to Poland, one sneaking weed into the country, and then they're sneaking onto a roof to smoke pot, and think that there's maybe some juvenilia about it. And I wanted to tell the reader, so I knew what the movie would look like, but I wanted to tell the reader, this is not that. This is not a buddy comedy. This is a movie that is about what happens when you take this buddy comedy thing and put it against the backdrop of historical trauma. And so I thought the music really did that. It created like a kind of sophistication and basically like an almost like steady, invisible hand above the movie. So I just put it in the scenes, and then I'd play the songs on set. I would tell them, this is the pace at which we're going to film this scene. This is the emotions I'm playing for the actors. This is the music that's going to be playing under this scene, so you can feel the feelings that might be in accordance with this song. And then when we were editing the movie, I put all those songs in the same places. And when I was asked to try out putting some pop music in it, I said no, because you already told me that the script was okay, and I haven't checked it. So, yeah, I'm not going to make any more comments about this, because I can't do anything else funny about it. This thing that is. So anyway, thank you for asking such a nice question. I love Chopin, and I love those pieces, and if you're a big Chopin fan, I'm sorry I used Opus 9 number 2, because you probably think I'm a cliche rube. Yeah. Oh, thanks, we can go all the way over there. Hi. Yes?
I just wanted to ask, is there anything you picked up from directing when you finished it in the world that you used here?
Yeah, I was asking, did I pick up anything from my first movie that I directed last year, this? And yeah, that movie, we were filming at the height of the pandemic before COVID vaccines, and we were shooting on film, and for those two reasons, we were shooting very short days and with very little film, because it was expensive to shoot film, right? So the movie, I basically just got every shot that I needed for the movie, and like I just couldn't get anything else. We were shooting like 9-hour days. And we had a cap of the amount of coverage we can get because of the film. So basically I was pleased with those restrictions. I love those restrictions because I thought this is great. I don't have to do any kind of boring coverage. I can think of an interesting shot here. It can take me through the scene, and I don't have to worry about shooting a million things, you know, and then editing, and then making the movie in the editing room. And so, but then when I was in the editing room, I realized, shit, I should have gotten more. I should have done something. Just because, you know, we wanted to snip little moments out, or, you know, make somebody feel something for a character there, but we didn't have a close-up shot on them, and we were shooting on 16 millimeters, so you couldn't blow the shot up enough. And so here I wanted to shoot digital. I'm sorry for saying that, but I just wanted to shoot digital so that we can get enough footage, because we were shooting really quick. It was 26 days on airplanes and airports with an ensemble cast. And I wanted to just do 2 cameras on video, and for this movie, I'd like to shoot film again if I can afford it, but for this, it just didn't make any sense to do it on film, to get it, with this I had 2 cameras going almost at all times, so we either had a second camera that was filming other actors in the scenes, because we're shooting scenes with 8 characters, so we needed 2 cameras rolling at all times to do those in a day. We normally on a regular movie, you would shoot it for 3 days, but we were so quick. And then I wanted the second camera to be shooting Poland, essentially B-roll of Poland, shot buildings, the buildings you see when James, the tour guide, is talking about the missing parts of Jewish history, or a Warsaw montage. And so I was just kind of thinking maybe more efficiently and practically on this movie. In my first movie, I think I was thinking a little more kind of from a place of kind of pure creativity. Yeah, thank you for asking that. And hi, here in the front row. I mean, the third row. Yeah, you.
Oh, shit.
You're worthy of doing this.
Sorry, quick, just to indulge myself in a compliment, the decision at in the train scene where David and Benji have that moment where they're like, hey, we're in first class. I thought that was brilliant and just wanted you to know. The question is, what was a writing decision or a moment that didn't exist in the first draft, and how did you arrive at that decision, if you're comfortable sharing your process?
That is you don't know how astute your question is. He was saying he liked the scene where we sneak back on the train and wound up ironically in first class. And that is the only scene that was not in the first draft of the movie. Because your second question was there any scenes that were not in the first draft of the movie? That was the only one. And it came because, so in the original script, they just got off, Benji runs away and David goes with him, but then they just get off at the stop with everybody else. And as I said, Emma Stone is a brilliant producer, and it was the only note that I got in pre-production. It was just like, I would like to see, she said I just wanted to see them alone together. I wanted to see what they would have been like together as kids. And so they lose the group for a second? And so I was thinking about it, and it occurred to me that would be the only logical place that they could lose the group. And so I thought of this scene where they have this, like, so many sweet things happen, which is like, David falls asleep, so Benji wants to watch him sleep, so he wants to have him again, like they used to be in Chinatown, where David would fall asleep, and Benji could be the one to, be in control of David. And so it came from a sweet thing, and then, of course, Benji has a crazy plan to get on the other side of the train. And so it gave them this moment of feeling alive again together. So what an astute set of questions you asked. And
thank you.
Shouldn't have been so worried in the beginning. Yeah, thanks, Amy in the red. Hello.
Can you ask about casting the ensemble group?
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah, sure. So for casting the group scenes, I had written the part of Mark, who's kind of the guy who's like just not charmed by Benji. I written it for this guy Dan Orestes, who's been in a bunch of my plays. I love him as an actor. I try to use him as much as I can. And otherwise, I didn't write the parts for anybody in particular, and we didn't hold really any auditions. I was just kind of like, with the tour guide, I wanted a British person who, the character is just written as like a British academic who's obsessed with Jewish history, but in this kind of academic, unfeeling way. And this actor, Will Sharp, is so interesting. He is a writer and director himself. He made this series called Flowers, where he I can't even tell you what it's about because it'll be so weird coming out of my mouth, but it's so transgressive and bizarre and brilliant. And I met him, and he's overqualified for the size of this role. He'd just been on White Lotus and got an Emmy Award, whatever, nomination for it. And so, but I met him, and I just was saying, I just want somebody in this role that can feel unusual and fresh and can be smart and kind of spar with us. And he was so sweet. He said, I know it's a small role. I just want to be involved in things I like with people I like, so I just want to do it. So it was kind of like a favor. I don't know how to describe it. It was so sweet. And then with Jennifer Grey, I just wanted to hire somebody who, when they come on screen, you automatically feel they're cool. The reason I did that is because I wanted there to be an element in this movie of like Kieran winning everybody over one at a time. And when he gets to her, it's like, oh, she's like the cool woman on the tour. Everybody else is a little nerdy or stodgy, and she's cool. And of course, day one, he runs away from me to hang out with the cool woman. And then by the end of the movie, you don't know if maybe they're dating. The joke of it almost is that if this was a high school movie, I'd be doing their SATs at home. And you know, and they would be shoving me in the locker as they went to the prom together. And so like that's kind of the dynamic I was trying to create. You know, where like, oh, of course, he's even hanging out with the cool woman. And then actually the part of Deloge, the Rwandan character, is it's based on my friend Deloge, whose story we tell in the movie. The exact same story that the character tells is my friend's story. Survived the Rwandan genocide, moved to Winnipeg, converted to Judaism because the only people he could relate to were Holocaust survivors in Winnipeg because they had been through a genocide as well. So it's a crazy story. If you Google Deloge's name, the first thing that comes up on videos is him on a Holocaust tour talking about his experience on Holocaust. So he allowed me to use his life, and that character we actually also auditioned for because I was trying to cast a Rwandan actor, and we initially cast this guy Shuti Gatwa, who's Doctor Who. He's Rwandan, and he was the only Rwandan actor I could find, and he was lovely. And then Doctor Who, and he's on another show, Sex Education, and so his schedule didn't permit him to come to Poland, and so we kind of cast a wider net. Kurt Egelon is Cameroonian and brilliant British actor. He's now very successful on but he also did Hamlet at the Globe. He's a brilliant actor, and he's on Game of Dragons or whatever it is. And so, but so I kind of just trying to find people that seemed good for Kieran to spar with. That seemed like the equation. It was like, who can Benji charm and then ruin? And that was the equation. And then at the end they fall in love with him for no reason. Like that kind of feeling. So I was kind of casting it almost like that, defensively, for Kieran's character. Thank you so much. Hi, maybe you in the back, I can see you. Oh, or somebody, sure, why not? You guys fight it out. I don't know, because I was working in this Bay Area. Sorry, I have a shifty hand because of my family's history. What do you say, sorry? Oh, yeah. Yes. I don't have joy, and I just like being busy because it distracts me from all the joy I have never felt. And I don't mean to be glib. I just am a really depressed person, and so I don't have joy. But when I'm in the scenes and it's funny and everything, I'm just like, this is amazing. This is real life. And then we call cut. I'm like, oh, that wasn't real life at all. That was entirely manufactured. And I guess I find joy in these fictional moments, because I don't have to worry about my own problems for a few minutes. And so I guess I've really had a cathartic experience with being an actor, and in some ways writing and directing too, because it allows you to kind of live out in that creative world that just pushes you further and further away from getting the help you need. So thank you so much, and it was so nice to do this. Thank you so much.